Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Looks like Martha's new diagnosis is chronic financial deception, and her only cure is a vacation funded by family. Today in the rLounge, diagnosis? Chronic fibbing. Treatment? Just a spoonful of karma. Mother-in-law took money from me for her surgery and funded a vacation for sister-in-law. We cut her off financially, and she's in trouble. I'm an active member of this sub, reading, commenting, engaging. However, this time there's something I need to take some advice on. So, my husband, James, 34 male, and I, 35 female, have been bankrolling his mother, Martha, for a while. She's not dirt poor, but she doesn't like to work at all and relies on us for most of this stuff. It started after father-in-law's death. Quite shocking for Martha. Father-in-law gave away the house to his firstborn son from his first wife. It was a secret until he died, and the lawyer disclosed the will. James is on cordial terms with his stepbrother, but Martha and sister-in-law, Lily, have been breathing fire on him. They even challenged the will in court, but lost. Martha had to vacate the house helplessly after defeat. James stepped up as a good son and took care of Martha. We took her in for a while, and it was a nightmare. It's an altogether different story for some other time. In order to maintain the peace in our marriage, James moved her out to a rented apartment, but she felt sick in the closed apartment. She demanded a spacious house. James declined it, saying buying a house for her was beyond our means. She then convinced him to take out a loan and buy her a house, and she would pay it back to him. After a lot of back and forth, he agreed. He took a loan and bought her a house. She paid the mortgage for a few months, and then, absconded. The bank hunted down James, and he had to pay the remaining amount. She appeared after a year, saying she went to Alabama to live with her sister. She promised James to return the money. James asked her from where she would return. She said she would find a way. Oh, really? Guess what? Never happened. But she was too proud to admit that she had faltered and James had paid the full mortgage. The bigger issue? She never seems to hold a steady job. There is always some health condition that prevents her from working. Sometimes it's migraines that's so bad she couldn't leave the house. Sometimes it's a mysterious back problem that makes standing difficult. One thing or another, you name it. However, she's active when doing other stuff. Swimming, partying, and most importantly, dating. No, I'm not judging her, but if she's in good health, she should take care of herself. But no. And when she doesn't have a stable income, who does she turn to for money? Yes, us. Apart from the government pension, James gives her some extra money for the monthly expenses. Despite that, she always has something or other that needs money. She comes up with the most stupendous facade to extort money from us. She seemed legit at first, but lately the whole thing feels like a well-rehearsed play. For example, Martha calls James in a full-blown panic. Fridge died, apparently holding her life-saving meds hostage. This happened when we were out of town for our anniversary on vacation. We were ready to call a repair guy, but she insists she did and he has given up on the fridge. All she needs is money. A hefty sum, mind you. James looked at me, and I'm like, we have not upgraded ours for the last 8 years. James offered to ship our fridge, and meanwhile, we bought a new one. She hung up the phone saying, "Let me think if I really want your junk." We never heard back from her regarding this issue. After coming back, when we asked her about her fridge, she said a mechanic miraculously fixed it. Wow! Another instance where Martha loses her wallet with all her cards and everything. James, naturally freaking out, rushes to get her cash. This kind of thing happens a lot. Emergencies, brilliant business ideas, random gifts. But here's the kicker. She only calls when she needs a handout. She guilt-tripped my husband into helping her with random emergencies for years, like a leaky roof or car repairs. The money we give her monthly vanishes into thin air. Meanwhile, her daughter, Lily, is living a high life. Trips, fancy clothes, the whole deal. Where does Lily get this money? God knows. When I ask Martha, it's always a vague, working somewhere. It just doesn't add up. Sometimes she makes TikTok videos of her workplace, and it seems like she's working at a clothing store. Makes me wonder if she really pays the saleswoman this much. The only way she can live with this lifestyle is by leeching on her boyfriends. Sometimes, when Martha reaches out to us for money, I ask her why Lily can't pitch in for some of Martha's expenses. But then I get a look from her. How could I ask my daughter for money? Obviously you can't, when your daughter is dependent on some other naive soul to fund her lifestyle. So you exploit your son and daughter-in-law. Last year, Martha came up with a request to fund her business. She aspired to be a florist. We were apprehensive, but she made James believe that this business was her passion, and she was going to kill it. She told us that she already has a blueprint ready, the location, clients, etc. She was sure that the business would run smoothly. She promised that after this investment, we never had to worry about her finances, and she would be able to take care of herself. She also sent us the location and picture of the shop she has scouted for her business. Everything about it was legit. So James decided to fund it and get done with more responsibilities. Joke's on him, it went belly up in a fortnight. The reason she gave for the failure was that people didn't buy flowers from an old lady. Really? Why? She shrugs off her shoulders and says, "How would I know? Ask them who is not buying from my store." That was it. James said we were done bailing her out. He decided not to give in to any of her demands from now on. He told this to her face, and it has been silent since then. Fast forward to a week ago. I got a panic call from Martha that she was having pain in her stomach. She went to the hospital where she had been diagnosed with appendicitis, and she needed money for the surgery. She said she had been having abdominal pain and diarrhea for a long time, and when the discomfort persisted, she got herself examined, and that's how it was diagnosed. I was very skeptical about it because she had been asking us for money on the pretext of various non-existent problems. I told James about this, and we decided to visit her and review the situation ourselves before giving the money. We went there, and she was groaning in pain. She was barely able to move. Lily drops in the morning and evening to take care of her. James's finances are slightly tight this month, and he asked me to bail him out. I was not ready to give my hard-earned money on a suspicious disease. I said, even if this is true, her insurance should cover her medical needs. Dang, she said she didn't pay the premium for the last several months. Why? Money has been tight. So she has to bear a lot of out-of-pocket charges by herself, especially for the bed and stay and pre- and post-surgery medication. Now, the thing is, even after seeing her from my own eyes, I'm very apprehensive, honestly. You see, after so many incidents, who would want to believe her? Feeling like she's straight up lying. Hence, I don't want to buy it this time. I told this to James, and he understands my concern, but he's worried that if this is the genuine ask and we do not help her, she might be at a serious health risk. Now I don't know what to do. What do you guys think? Because I'm confuzzled. Why has James put up with this for so long is my question. But I get it. You're torn between don't feed the beast and what if she's actually dying? In all seriousness, if it were me, I'd probably get a second opinion from a professional, both medical and financial, before dropping any more cash. If she gets offended, you know she's probably BSing you and doesn't actually need the money to pay for surgery. Update 1. Okay, so as most of you suggested, we asked for her to send the reports, because we're both skeptical. She has pulled this before. We demanded medical records. We missed seeing the reports the day we visited her. She sent lab reports and a prescription, which said she's on ondansetron and Tylenol for nausea and stomach pain. Sounds like appendicitis, right? We believed her and sent her the money for her pre-surgery tests, bed booking, etc. We were genuinely worried about her after seeing the reports. We continuously checked on her. She lives 30 miles away across town, so we cannot visit her every day. We asked her about the surgery dates so we could accompany her to the hospital. James asked her if he needed to take her to the doctor. She said Lily was there for everything. Fair enough. James and I have demanding jobs. We're taking care of her financially so Lily can pitch in for this. A week passed, but she didn't get the surgery dates. She barely responded to our calls and texts, saying she was in so much pain that she kept herself away from the phone. Then, 2 days straight, she didn't respond to our calls or texts. We contacted Lily. After our relentless effort, she texted back, "Mom is unwell. We are at the hospital." James panicked that something happened to her, and we rushed to the hospital. There we heard something that blew our mind. We got to know that Martha was not even a patient of the hospital. James pulled out the lab reports which were conducted at that hospital. The worst? It all seemed forged. There were no doctors and no lab technicians with that name mentioned on the document. The whole thing reeked of deceit, and we couldn't believe we'd been taken in. We ran to confront her, but when we arrived at her apartment, she was MIA. The door was locked, and I just knew she was hiding something. As we were about to leave, we ran into her neighbor. James asked her if she knew where Martha was, and what she told us left us stunned. Apparently, Martha and Lily had jetted off on vacation about a week ago. We asked if she knew Martha was unwell. She said Martha never told her about it, nor did she look unwell. James was beyond angry at this point. When we got back, I decided to do some digging on social media. I checked Lily's and Martha's Instagram and TikTok, but they hadn't posted anything recently. I figured she might have hidden the posts from us, so I decided to check her friend's profile, and that's when things got really interesting. Well, Thanks to the internet gods for Lily's friend who basically live streamed their vacation on Instagram. Martha, Lily, and Lily's friend have gone on a vacation to Miami. Needless to say, James and I were livid. We laid it all out there. The lies, the betrayal, the whole freaking audacity of it all. I didn't get my paycheck and emptied my savings just so that she could get the surgery she needed, but Martha's full of baloney. We were stupid enough to believe her story. James called her relentlessly to confront the matter, but she didn't respond. 2 days later, she texted back, "Oh, sorry, dear. I was in the hospital, getting the damn lump out. I was in severe pain and the doctor said I needed the surgery now. So, we're done with it. Thanks for the money." James was fuming, red with anger. He showed me the text and I replied to her, "Oh, I'm sorry for your pain. We're coming to see you at the hospital. You'll feel better." She freaked out, begging him not to come and claiming she'd be discharged in 2 days. Then, 2 days later, she texted James, asking us to come over as she had been discharged from the hospital. Our anger reached its peak and we drove to her apartment. Lily was there too, and her tan was a dead giveaway. James called her out, asking if she'd finally come clean or keep leeching off us for cash. Martha denied all allegations, saying I was making it up to create a feud between them. James told about the encounter with her neighbor, and Martha gasped. "Oh, that poor lady has been suffering from Alzheimer's. She mixes up facts. She must be talking about Mrs. Collin and her daughter who recently went on a Hawaii trip." We were speechless at her expertise in lying and making stories right on the face. So I dropped the bombshell, the vacation photo. Martha and Lily were left stunned and silent. When they couldn't spin their way out of it, Martha started sobbing and claimed she had lied to help Lily with her mental health, and she was going through a lot. What the F? Apparently, she blew the whole wad on a freaking vacation for Lily. Like, seriously? James was furious. Lily had the nerve to downplay it, saying it was just a vacation and what's the big deal? James set her straight, reminding her that I'd funded the fake surgery and now he wanted the money back within 2 days. Lily still had no shame, pretending to cry and apologizing, but James shut it down, telling Martha the free ride was over and that he was not going to pay any bills, no help from him, and he was cutting her off financially. Oh boy, the meltdown that followed was epic. Full-on waterworks from Martha, guilt-tripping us about being abandoned by her only son in her time of need. Lily joined Martha in the drama and started questioning our sanity about our decision to cut off Martha financially. To them, it was no big deal that they lied. Her statement was, "So what? She lied. It's not a big deal. You can't cut off Mom for that." James was like, "We're not here to make you guys realize your mistakes because you folks would never get it, but we are off the hook now. We have been no contact with her since then." First off, let's applaud Martha for her dedication to the art of deception. Martha and Lily have clearly made a full-time career out of the family fraud business. They've got the scam down to an art form. Cutting them off was the right call. Should have gone no contact a long time ago. You guys would have had a lot more money in your bank accounts. Update 2. Here's some update relevant to this thread. We had to cut off Martha financially, and then, of course, she hit James with a ton of guilt-trip texts. Classic Martha, trying to pull the strings on him again. James has always been a considerate person, easy to manipulate sometimes, but this time he knew what to do. You know? He cut her off. Of course, we cannot let ourselves be exploited forever. After playing her victim card, she was silent for a while. I mean, she didn't show up at her house. Her Instagram was snoozing. Then suddenly there were pictures of her holidaying with a man quite older than her. I asked James if he knew him, but he had no idea. She put up stories with a heart, which clearly meant she was dating him. He looked well off. One could sense it from the pictures. Vacationing in Florida. She's hanging out at his beachside villa and doing all sorts of things. Yeah, she posted clingy private pictures on Instagram. During that phase, she did not reach out to us for money, but she duped James's uncle, Fred. She called Fred saying she was having severe pain in her molars and she needed money to get it out. He asked her about her insurance thing, but she said her insurance plan doesn't cover tooth extraction. Moreover, she hasn't been able to pay the premium. She portrayed herself to be a poor widow who was betrayed by her late husband and abandoned by her only son. Fred gave her the money she wanted, and since then, she has ghosted him. He called her several times to check on her health, but no response. Uncle Fred called me to ask if I knew about it, and how's her health? I burst out in laughter because a week after her supposed tooth extraction, she posted a video on her Instagram where she was chewing down on ice cream. I sent it to him and he was flabbergasted. How could she have ice cream after getting her tooth removed? I told him it was total BS and narrated her facade about appendicitis. He was blown away. He said he was going to chase her for the money because She had borrowed it from him, and it wasn't a charity. Poor guy didn't follow her on Instagram and got duped. Though he is strong-headed about getting his money back, I bet he won't. Getting money back from Martha is like beating a dead horse. That's it for now. Thanks for reading this. Well, another one of Martha's victims. Update 3. I never thought that it would take such a dramatic turn. As I mentioned, we cut off mother-in-law financially after she took money from us for her surgery and went on a vacation with her daughter. Then, she had been dating a rich man for some time and went bonkers posting about her luxurious lifestyle funded by him. Guess what else she got from him? In return, an STD. That's right. Martha was diagnosed with an STD last month, and it came out that the old man had given this to her. Call me petty or insensitive, but I don't know whether I should laugh or sympathize with her in this situation. Well, guys, there's no free meal in life. Martha was over the moon that a fat fish got into her hook. Didn't she realize it was a virus? When Martha got to know that he had infected her, she rushed to him for money. Guess what? By then, he was riding another chick. His staff chased her out without a penny. Needless to say, Martha ran to us for help. She shamelessly narrated to James that she was humping this old man without protection because she thought protection is needed only to avoid children. So she skipped it because she had crossed the childbearing age. Wow. James shut her down and walked inside his room. He then texted me to tell Martha to leave because we could not help her any further. Martha created a scene and started sobbing that she was going to die if we didn't help her. I said there are several charity-run hospitals that treat these diseases. Go for it, but she insisted that we pay for her private treatment. I didn't want to entertain her because I cannot reason out with her entitled head, so I asked her to leave. She started sobbing and arguing with me that I was throwing her out on the street to die. I was like, what do you expect us to do? Believe you and burn our money after you made a fool of us so many times? She swore to God that she wasn't lying this time, and every time she lied, it was because Lily needed money for something or the other. Oh, that's interesting. Now it adds up to Lily's luxurious lifestyle. So it was we who were funding for it. I said, if that's so, why don't you go to Lily for help? Apparently Lily has ghosted Martha after she got to know about the disease. She's not responding to her texts or calls and doesn't want to be bothered. Not only this, Lily has gotten engaged to an Irishman in a secret ceremony that most likely she has left the country with him. No idea why it was such a big secret. Time will reveal. After a lot of back and forth, Martha finally left our house, but with a lot of bitterness that we are letting her die. I said I'm ready to take that sin on me. Do you guys really think that I should buy her BS after all the lies and manipulations? What if this is just another way of money extortion? She then reached out to Uncle Fred for help. She got the listening of her life from him. She showed her all her medical reports to him and begged him for help, but he turned her down. His wife chased her out. Fred has told other relatives about Martha's lies and deceit, and everyone has distanced themselves from her. My friends have been asking me if this STD thing turns out to be true, would I feel guilty about not helping her earlier? I said no, I wouldn't. Heard the story of the shepherd boy and the wolf? It sums up pretty much. If she really needs medical help, she wouldn't hesitate to seek it through charitable means, but she's proud to avail that. Funny. What happened to her false pride while begging in front of us? She's such a leech. So that's it until now. It's almost 2 weeks since she showed up at our house. I haven't heard from her after that. We'll update if any more drama unfolds. Thanks for reading and engaging my post. Oh boy. It seems Martha went from being the queen of financial exploitation to the unwitting recipient of a less than desirable gift from her sugar daddy. And you're right, the shepherd boy and the wolf story fits perfectly here. Martha has cried wolf one too many times, and now she's left dealing with the consequences. Keep holding your ground. Sometimes the best response to a recurring scam is to let the show come to its own conclusion. If she really needs help, then there are charitable organizations that could assist her, ones that aren't bankrolled by the family she's taken advantage of. What would you have done? And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you soon. And put your chair back where you found it.